All right, the time has come. We need to get to this project and get it back to the owner. It hopefully shouldn't take very long now that we've got the tractor running. In the previous episode, all we need to do is straighten out this rat's nest of wiring. So we're gonna get started on that right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Brownstown Man, and this here is a little 8-in Ford owned by a friend of mine. He brought it over and said, you got to straighten out the wiring. Said, this is a mess. And I agree. It is not an ideal situation. But I did get it to run again, because he said, after whoever helped him wire it, he said it would only run while you were cranking and then it would quit. And the reason was they had this wire hooked to this side. This is obviously his wire that sends power to the key and everything. And they had it hooked to the wrong side of the solenoid. So instead of being hooked essentially to the battery, it was hooked only to the starter side. So it was only getting power when it was cranking, and that's why. Now, there are things that are not going to make me smile on this project. For one, I don't like how this solenoid is hanging out here. It actually, the original bolted to the starter there, but this is a totally different style. So I'm gonna see if I can't make like one whole line up or something somehow, even if I have to like bend this piece flat or something. It needs to be not just hanging out there. I feel like it needs a little bit more attachment. Also, aside from wiring, he said he wouldn't mind having a temperature gauge in it. However, somebody's replaced the head on this tractor, and they obviously put on, I guess what I'm saying is the original tractors did not have a temperature gauge, so there's no place for it even. This tractor dash has a temperature gauge, so obviously it had one at one time, but someone has replaced the head with a different head that doesn't have the drilling now for temperature gauge. And I don't know if that's a journey I really want to take, you know? I could drill that out and tap it right here, but there just seems like there could be an awful lot of sadness that could take place if something goes awry. So it's not like you're gonna hit a valve or anything, because that is it's a flathead, so there's nothing in this head. It's just a chunk of metal with a water passage in it. But I don't know, friends. We'll see how I feel about it after that thing happens. But we got to do something, and that something is just start hacking and whacking here, because this is, I just can't deal with it. I mean, we can probably recycle some of this wire, but we have got to make it not like this. I mean, this is just a disaster, friends, and I just can't abide with it. So where does one even start? Well, I think I'm gonna start with the solenoid and try to figure out how to mount it solid, and then we will just build off of that and work our way back to the key. I really need to just take this battery cable back off. I just had it running. I put it on here so that I could move it into the sun, because it's kind of cold, and in the shade I felt like that was an adventure I didn't really want to be in. So yeah, okay. I think those were 9/16, but an adjustable will get it. Well, let's pick up our pile of tools from working on the square bed and carry them over to this project, you know? That's not that, so that's great. That means it's a half, and I bet I don't have a half in this pile. Luckily, the service truck is right behind me, so let's start by let's just start over here so that we can work unencumbered by any sort of thought process. We'll just start from anew. I actually started doing this the other day, and then I thought, dum-dum, I need to be able to move it. So, all right. So there is a hole, and I believe that is the other hole for mounting originally. Are there any chances that any of that would line up? Probably not. Doesn't look like it. I'm not worried about that bar. I can always change the bar. I could potentially twist the bar and have it sit like that, which would be dandy. I would be okay with that, but what I gotta do is, actually, those holes would probably line up if I bent the tabs down. But the next thriller we're gonna have is, there is a lot of trash in there, which means probably get the tap and die set and gently see about working into those holes. I have no idea what size thread they are, and then we'll have to find screws. But I just feel like that would be more appropriate to have it like this, mounted solidly, and then I'll get that bar to connect to it somehow, and then that way this would not move. You know, one could argue, well, go this way so that the button was out in the open, but that's going to take us pretty far away. I just think it'd probably be easier to go that way. You could still get your hand and push that manual start button, you know. I kind of like that feature, you know, if your solenoid craps out or you're something else, but tap and die set, I suppose. All right, somewhere along the line, for a little tap and die set here, must have drew some moisture. It's not pleasant, you know. So my first guess is going to be this size, which is 1024. That sounds like a size that maybe Henry Ford would have used. That actually could be a little too loosey-goosey in there. I don't know. It seems like I could probably push that through. All right, so the next size up would be 1224. Although this could be fine threaded, you know. I didn't consider that. A lot of electrical stuff is fine threaded. Let's try that. Nope, not that one. Here's 1032. $10.32? No? Boy, it seems like it would. Let's see here. What have I got in the way of turning tools for that? That seems like that's what it is. Hopefully we don't go too far and ruin the starter, you know? Is that really? It seems like it. Can we do the back side? With it on here? Probably not. Oh, we're struggling. That one seems like it's not wanting to play the same kind of game we just played. Makes me wonder if that really is the size. Let's see if we can. This is one of those things. Is it worth it? Is what I'm doing worth doing or not? I've got to keep watch for the UPS guy too, because apparently something I ordered has to have a signature to be delivered. I don't know what that is or would be, but they left a note yesterday that said they would bring it again today because I wasn't here when they came. So that's super inconvenient for me. Had I known that was going to be the case, I probably would have had it delivered somewhere else where I could have had somebody there. All right. Now the task is going to be to find some screws that will fit in our 1032 hole. So, yay for me. All right. How's this suit you? That's why you don't ever throw nothing away. You see, you save it all to the point of ridiculousness. Those are probably slightly too long, but I lost one just now anyway, so what's it matter, you know? You can't have it all, and in my case you can't have any, because it never works out. There. All right, I suppose, and I'm just gonna ever so slightly bend these down and see if that'll make that ride saddle. And I suppose another nice thing to do then would be get some washers, because that won't even stay through there. That will help take up my extra space of screw problems, and then we might have a chance of getting that tight and getting it to stay where it needs to be. And I realize you probably haven't seen much of what I was doing, but that's life. We might only be able to get one in, because I don't know if I could even get to that one on the back side. Which one is probably a plenty. That stiffened it up quite a bit. I don't think I can really get to that back one, unless maybe I do that one first and get it almost all the way in there. I could try that. We can try to do it the right way first, and then when that fails, we'll do it the Ross way. But what I'm saying is this piece will anchor the back side, so it's not like it's gonna be crazy loose. Come on. Come on. All right, that's pretty solid. Now I've got to manhandle this and try to get it where it's going to connect. And I think I can do that simple. I just need to kind of, yeah. I know what I need to do, but I'm actually probably going to need more than just the tools that I have here. I need like a vice grip, because I need to be able to make a twist in that. I don't know if I can easily do that. Let's see if that's a better shape. Why, that's almost a perfect shape. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. Needs to be just a little bit tweaked. All right, look at it. Would you just look at it? That ought to work fine. Matter of fact, before we do anything else, we're going to, yeah, we're gonna hook it back up and make sure that it really is working correctly, so we don't end up, you know, wasting our effort. That ain't gonna be no big deal. No big deal. Yeah, use the longest wrench you have so that it doesn't fit in there for what you're doing. That's the task. Yeah. All right. What have we got there? Now we need the obnoxiously long battery cable, which is fine. I mean, you can't run them off, you know. Put that back on there like that. I just don't like that it's so long. I don't like my stupidity either. It's getting to be terminal. Okay, you're done. I think we really want to go through here. That way, if it arcs out against the gas tank, we can have a free trip to the moon. Now we're gonna need, here is his wire that they had on there, and I can reuse that, quite honestly, here in a minute. But we're gonna hook it up and see if it'll run using their variation of wiring they had, if I just simply, you know what I'm saying. Well, I don't like this battery cable being so long. I'd almost get a different one for him, but I also don't want to run up the bill unnecessarily, because this is not a farming tractor. This is going to be a toy. I don't know. Although I don't like that cable, I might get a different one, a small one, a right length one. That's what I'm saying. We'll see. I could crimp a different end on it, I guess, because I don't like it laying on the head and through the battery box. I could do it that way though. There, it wouldn't be quite as bad. All right. Now this, I believe, was his wire that they had to this terminal here. Let's see now if the tractor will actually run with his setup of stuff. So I got, oh, it won't, I gotta do this because I have it disconnected, but if I do this and push the button, there she goes. If I shut the key off, will it? Well, obviously it would have killed it, but this. All right. Progress, friends, is being made. So now we're going to build back better, except we're going to do that, not just say it. And that is a potentially not fun time, because there's just so much failure that could ensue here. I don't like, I'm not opposed to reusing some of his wiring here instead of reinventing the wheel, but I don't like the way that a lot of it is routed. And I'm afraid that if I don't know. There, I fixed that one. So potentially I could do that, but I really think that this wiring should go like down and under. And it needs to be on the other side of that oil line, so it could be like tucked through here. and then like come up through there and come down through here. I think that would be like the less danger way. But then there's another issue, which is I need to make his alternator charge, and he doesn't have enough wires up there to it. So I pretty well got to pull this insulation off, or this insulation. I mean this electrical tape that I'm taking off right now. And I also need to see about, I need to find what's the word I'm looking for? I need to find a plug for the alternator. Woo. Well, it'll be interesting to see how much footage is still savable, because I just looked down and noticed that the camera was doing something very strange I've never seen it do before. You went all like psychedelic tie-dye on me and blurry and distorted, and just a few seconds before that it was fine. So I don't know, but what I was saying is I need to find another plug for his alternator, and I hope I have one, because I used one here a while back on something, and I don't remember if I ordered more. But I need to run another wire to trigger the alternator, and then I can wrap these up and tuck them back where they need to go. But then also we should probably deal with his headlights situation, which is also crappy, because see, as it changes to 2 different types of wires, and I ain't having that. So I'll probably run an extra wire up there for headlights and put a little plug on it that we can plug the lights into. We'll figure that out. We're making progress. It seems slow, but it is going to work. I need to find that plug, and then I will be able to start there. This wire we're going to take loose from wherever they got it going, and we're going to hook it to the key, to the battery. Well, actually, no. If he wants to have his charging gauge work, I got to think about that. Well, this is a 3-wire alternator, so that won't matter. So this could go to the battery terminal of the key switch, and then so would this one. And then the other wire will go through the gauge, which I think he's got a forklift gauge, so sure. What I'm saying is we're going to try to use as much stuff of his as we can, because he's not going to want to spend a ton. Like I said, this is a toy. So we're going to try to make it happen for him, and that's just the way she goes. So plug, that's where I'm at. All right, well, no plug. What a shocker. What a shocker that I'm not prepared. But that's okay. We can run a wire up there anyway, and then I'll get one. Hopefully in town. That's probably more expensive. We got to get in here and figure out what we've done. We have just a whole slew of sadness, and I have. And of course, that's not the right size nut driver. Why would it be? Let's just use the pliers. This is called starting over. Starting over. We're going to just ignore what they've done and do it our way. I'm trying to think. That's a dangerous game when I try to think. But this is all going away. We're gonna start over. I like the effort, but I don't like the execution of it. So, and a lot of people probably watch and they say, well, why would you take all that loose and instead of just splicing to it? And what? If I'm signing off on this as my work, I'm starting over. I'm not gonna do anything that I don't think that I will guarantee later, because when it doesn't run, he's not gonna go complain to the last guy, he's gonna complain to me. So I wanna make sure that it's working. And that's the way with everybody's project. What I do may not be the way you would do it, but you're not the one that takes the complaints if it doesn't work. So I'll do it my way. That's what I'm saying. Oh boy. Okay. What a lovely key switch, you know? I think the terminals are labeled, I hope, because we're gonna need them. It's almost overwhelming. Like, I don't even know where to go next, because there's so much sadness. This is our new battery wire. That goes from the battery. This is our ignition wire. And this is our alternator battery wire, which I realize you couldn't see any of what I was just saying, but these three wires are gonna stay in some variation of being shorter than they are now. The rest of it is gonna go bye-bye. The start wire, it could technically stay. It just doesn't need to be laid out in the way that they had it laid out. They had it, it was too long. The electrical taped it up, and then they spliced it and put a wire nut in it. And I don't understand. I'm sure there was a reasoning for that at the time that they thought, but why? We don't need that. What we're gonna do is go like right about, almost exactly where it was spliced. Probably about right like that. And I'm gonna cut it off and I'm gonna put a ring terminal on it. And I'm gonna do away with that spade because in my experience that would like pull off of there. So we're gonna do that. So that would be our push button to there. And it may even end up that I'm gonna wait a little bit to do that till I get the main harness run through here, so I know where I can tuck it out of the way, because it doesn't need to be that long. But when I'm done, I want all the wires taped together in a bundle so they're not just all over the place, you know what I'm saying? But there, we got that. All right, well, I've set myself up here for hopeful success. I've got my harness made, taped up, put in there. I just got to put ends on it, connect it. I got it where it'll go up here to the key. And now I'm getting ready to put a new end on this, which had a fork, and I'm not a fan of forks. What I want to do is I want to try out our new crimping setup tools. I know the stripper part works good. I used it a minute ago. But, and this is probably not the one to try this on because I gotta do it through this hole because of this piece if I want to use the original thing, which I think I do. I did not leave myself much in the way of slack, I guess, like I should have. But if you leave too much slack, then it just gets caught on stuff and ripped off, and then that doesn't do it for people either. So, all right, we can make this happen though, friends, if I just get enough hands to do it. All right, that would be lovely right there. Then I have this fancy crimping tool, which I've never used, but I'm assuming if I just lay this in the one that's got the blue dot on it, it's gonna make a beautiful crimp. And it looks like it's one and done. It looks like it's not. That seems pretty solid. Kind of like that. I'm gonna have to get used to it though. I mean, but boy, it does leave a nice little finished deal on it. Let's put this in back so we know we got. Apparently, I'm out of ring terminals again, and I thought we just bought a box here a while back. I've got bigger sizes, but I don't have this size, and this is the size I need to do what I'm I'm wanting to do here. So I guess that's on my list for things in town. And then we're gonna have to sort out all this other stuff here of how we want to go. I got my key switch pulled out of there and looked over so I understand what's what. But yeah, we need to get our gauge wired up, get this wired up, and our ignition. I'm trying to remember what. See, I don't have any ring or any. Yeah, I'm kind of dead in the water till I get more ring terminals. So I'm gonna have to go hunt. Maybe I have some in my other electrical box that I took with me on a service call. That's usually where I mainly keep stuff, but then I got a drawer in the service truck I put things in. And we're gonna try to reuse his key switch because it didn't appear that there was anything wrong with it, and it's kind of a nice heavy key switch, it looks like. So supplies, terminals, a light switch, which I hope we have room for what I'm thinking. We should have. And I should probably look through that box of stuff he gave me to make sure he doesn't already have something, but I don't know. I'll sort that out and we'll see what happens. Do you enjoy seeing a basic white man in his middle 30s struggling at life? If so, hit that thumbs up and leave us a comment, because all of that stuff is supposed to help us out and grow the channel, and we can keep making more stuff like what you just saw. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.